Well, I've been around Stabrook markets, in my younger days. And we used to visit every little bar drinking beers, just sit down at this, right at the bar. They had stools and chairs. And we would stop there, drink some beers till late in the night, like 9 o'clock. Then I will take a bus and go home. And now what Nigel is saying, you can't do that in Stabrook markets, just to illustrate the level of degradation all over the years. And you're not only talking about Stabrook Market. If you go down, my general manager on his first day here, just over a year ago, he went to walk, he saw the trees and so down Main Street, and he said he's just going to take a walk. And he was snatched, his watch was snatched, right? He was bruised after he wanted to go back to Miami, It takes a lot to live in Guyana. And, it brings us to the problem of leadership over the years. You see, when things happen, like if a household is not managed properly, and the father, who is the only breadwinner of the home, don't take the money home and go and drink or abuse the kids, or not respectful to the wives, or, don't take care of the home. Everything starts with leadership. And what we have had all over the years is leadership, what Cheddy Jagan calls square pegs in round holes. And Anthony mentioned, the history of those time in the past, where we have people least capable of making decisions, are making decisions on our behalf. They're overtaxing us. They're investing our money. They're giving some to their friends, and through their friends, they get in a cut. But everywhere you look, you see the failure of leadership, the degradation, the high level of crime, the degradation in social services, the degradation of medical services, the level of health care, the financial position of the country as we stand now with low foreign reserves and high debt. Everywhere you go, you see the symptoms of failed leadership. And Donald talked about the Skeldon estate. That's a failed leadership. Without an economic plan for the closed sugar estates. And the same failed leadership, you see it on the roads, the unsafe streets, and everywhere. We see policemen every 4 o'clock coming out of La Penitence police station there, stopping hard-working people going home, trying to beat the traffic to get home, right? That's the time they're coming out. 8 of them, most of the time I pass, there are 8 of them there till late in the night. Stopping, backlog of traffic. Why? Why are policemen supposed to be out on the road doing what? Right? That's the level of incompetence. You give the visibility that you're doing something when you're not doing. You see them back in the morning at 7 o'clock, while a pile of traffic, down the East Bank. It's a failure of leadership. The question is, who is looking, right? What level of accountability is the leader exercising over his cabinet? They meet every week at cabinet. Isn't there a strategic plan? The Minister of National Security, is there a strategic plan for him to deliver? And are those plans reviewed on a weekly or a monthly or a quarterly basis or an annual basis, and to say, what improvements have we made? We're spending people money, right? It is not our money. So the level of degradation will continue under the failed leadership, because if you give them another term, it's the same faces you will see again, the same policies, the same laissez-faire attitude of the current president, the same corrupt deeds of the former president, and the same, party politics dominating life in this country. We have daily robberies on our streets, daily. Armed robberies of businesses, armed invasion of homes, weekly fatal traffic smash up on the roads, because we have like used tires being sold in the country, we will ban used tires on day one. We have 4 persons die at Fairfield there the other day and smash up across the west coast of them. We have renegade driving by minibuses. And these are all deterioration of society because of failed leadership. We have so many unsolved murders. We have a politically dominated police force, right, that is often in conflict with the general public. There is no public trial yet. They caught the bandits. Until now, a decision has not been made to lock these bastards up. You know, who is looking? Who is making the decision? What a level of accountability to the people of this country when a service go down or they haven't delivered on a promise. You see, the culture of promise of politics in Guyana will always have the PPP and PNC unless we take a stand, unless we ensure, unless we demand accountability. If somebody hasn't performed, if you mortgage the livelihoods of the sugar workers without an alternative plan, if the roads here are the worst that you can ever see, I mean, you just have to go on YouTube and look at some roads in Barbados or Trinidad. Or, I mean, who is looking? Are they traveling themselves around the country? So who is looking? Who is taking notes when they go around the country with all these bodyguards and vehicles with siren? Aren't they seeing anything? You know? But we are the ones that are suffering because of bad decisions, because of high taxation that transfers income from poor people to the political elite. And then they waste it on uneconomic projects or poorly designed roads that in many cases only last a rainy season. Look how many times they rebuild the roads to the airport. So many times I can tell you. There is no, as Nigel said, no sidewalk, nothing at all. I mean, we have had ample opportunities to have a big highway to the airport. And I would say, not Ogle, because that's not the hub, we would do a highway of an international standard from Mandela Avenue straight to the airport, right? Because the hub is around Georgetown here. And if you do it at Ogle, you exclude the people of Georgetown. So they need people who can make decisions and make decisions in the interest of the people of this country. But today, Guyana is indeed broken. When will this all end, we must ask. Who is responsible? Where is the accountability? Bigger budgets, higher taxes, no solutions. Where is the strategic plan? Where is the leadership? Only promises and more promises and more promises. Nigel mentioned the security budget went up 83%. From 19 billion 2015 to 35.6 billion this year. What are they spending on when there's such degradation in the security system? When people don't feel safe, they can't assert their level of freedom. When people have to grapple with economic problems and making lives meet, they have us on a subsistence mode all the time. People have to hustle around to get by, hustle through the traffic, hustle to the traffic lights. I've never seen traffic lights like these in my life, where they count down. You know, traffic lights have sensors that works, right? And depending on the traffic, they have radar. They either lengthen the time or they shorten the time. I've had many times from here, I don't go very far, on weekends when no traffic passing, but you have to wait. I mean, who is looking and where's the accountability? That's my problem, and that's the reason I got into this. I love this country. You see that sign over there? It's a typical sign, and I guess it's the reason why they put it close to Pegasus. Because I so love this country. I invested billions of dollars in this country, and I should have a say, but nobody listened to you. And I'm very passionate about having solutions and having accelerated economic development that uplift everyone. But Nigel mentioned this. The main cause of crime, I believe, is an economic one. Crime is a subset or a consequence of poor economics. When a household can't afford the basic standard of living, when an employee have to pay $15,000 when he earns $100,000 in taxes, right? When the cost of living is $120,000, when youths coming out of school can't find a job, and the relief valve of migration is not available to him or her, that creates social problems. When people see leadership that are corrupt, that don't lead, that just sit by driving around in siren cars, that creates social problems. When they give themselves increase in salaries and nothing for the public sector, only now they raise the salaries of public sector. That creates social problems. The condition of the road, the waterlogged conditions, the lack of sanitation, wait until the rainy weather to desilt the drainage canals or to take out the weeds from the canals. These are things that create a hustling life, a survival mode life that every Guyanese know about, and that's what fuels the level of migration. So the crime, security is a function and a great part of an economic problem. And since independence, successive and the failure of leadership in creating wealth, they have not created wealth. Bauxite existed before independence and they crushed bauxite. Sugar was striving, and sugar is on survival mode now. Everything that they have touched has gone down. All public corporations need support. GPL and Gaisuku alone, $100 billion that I like to say in 10 years that could build 5 bridges across the Demerara River. You know, these are consequences of social problems being an economic problem because there are not enough investment. And even though the budget increased by 83%, from 19 billion to 35 billion, where is the solutions? There's no solution. We're getting worse and worse every day. Poverty. Poverty breeds crime and criminal activity. We all know that. So it's an economic problem, right? Poverty, training, lack of proper training, lack of jobs. Political domination. I mean, if leadership isn't a problem, then political domination of the police force and all civil society, civil and the civil service, political domination. And how could somebody who hasn't displayed proper leadership, they are not equipped to make these decisions, they issue directive that marginalize the police, just like they marginalize the civil service. In no other countries you have that. So how would the police operate? Poor wages, corrupt leaders who want to protect themselves, who created a corrupt state, want to protect themselves. Remember that famous study that the British did some years ago, I can't remember how long, outlining so many recommendations to overhaul the security sector when the PPP was in office. Not one was implemented. Why? Because all the cronies would have been caught. The connections of some of the ministers with crime and criminal activity would have been exposed, right? So even the motive, even the predisposition to do something good is not there. So the police need to be better equipped. They need better salaries. They need better training, as Mr. Gates said. And there again, they need leadership, right? Because without leadership, you can't get anything properly done. So there are a lot of problems, and we have the solutions. Some of the solutions, I'll just briefly, Nigel indicated most of them. We need a strong, non-corrupt, and visionary leadership at the highest level. Because everything down the line, when you don't have honest, visionary leadership, everything deteriorates. They just sit there having coffee. You need an independent professional police force with a 5-year strategic plan. You have to have a plan everywhere. You're spending people money, you must have a plan. And the other element of it, you have to be held accountable. We need to leapfrog to high-tech intelligence-based solutions, not having 8 traffic police stopping the traffic at East La Penitence at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 7 a.m. Those are not police. Those are not crime fighting. We will redirect all of them to crime fighting. Get them the necessary training, because the resources are needed in crime fighting rather than harassing people on the road. Jobs and wealth creation is an important element of our solution, because when you give people a job, you give them a self-worth, a high level of dignity. They can provide for themselves and their family. They feel important. They're responsible citizens. They became responsible citizens. You cannot fight crime if you don't create jobs. Stiffer penalties is important. I mentioned the robbery that my company faced, and on to this day, more than 12 years after, we can't get a conviction. Stiffer penalties is important. An independent, responsive judicial system is also important, because many times you caught the bandits, it takes years and years in court. So you need an independent. Here again, political domination of the judicial system is a very important concern that has its effects in crime and criminal activity. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think you have had a long day so far. So, thanks for coming, and I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and prosperous and a new year that we can make a change. Together we can do it. I have no doubt in my mind. Nigel and I and the team are both equipped and passionate about what we do and the change we want to bring. And the economic plan that we have outlaid in all these press conferences. This will be our last for the year. But I wish everyone a happy Christmas